Martin Show. I am Buddy Martin. Glad to be with you tonight. Back here in my Panama City home. Been down in north central Florida for the last week. Some terrific experiences like the one I had last night. I'll tell you about it later. It's involved Jake Slaughter, McCall, Ocala quarterback club. It was a special night. Loren Meadows was there. He'll be along a little later. We'll ask him about it. Tonight, Ben Troupe has a little knowledge on the latest information about the Florida offensive and coordinators and defensive coordinators. Billy has made the choice, and it is going to be two guys you don't know much about. I say Billy, I meant John. Sorry about that. That'll happen. I'll get used to it. Two guys that I didn't know a lot about, but I think our guys do. Ben Troupe, Franz, Loren Meadows will be along in a minute. We'll fill in the blanks on who these two guys are that they are going to be in charge of the offense and the defense. As we slog along, people still not having filled their head coaching jobs. Do you believe that? Penn State, without an identified candidate for it to take over the job that James Franklin was fired for last October. Not so easy sometimes. So Florida has their man, John Sumrall. A lot of good things happening about him. Bit of a bromance developing out there. And I think we're going to like this guy. I said my piece on it last week. I'm not going to go over my skis too far here and start talking about how great he's going to be. But all the signs point to a very favorable reaction. People saying that they're happy with the choice and that they like how he was direct. He was a real person. I think he answered more questions than in one press conference that his predecessor did in 4 years. Stay tuned. The Buddy Martin Show's next right here on this channel. Tell your friends and neighbors.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. Who are Buster Faulkner and Brad White? Well, there's two names you should get to know if you are, in fact, a Gator fan, especially the two new coordinators for John Sumrall. Just returning from Ocala, I want to say a word before I go forward. What a special experience I had last night. I know we had Loren Meadows there. We'll talk to him about it as well. Jake Slaughter was presented with the very first Wayne McCall Character Award. Wayne was, of course, captain of the 6-7 team from Ocala, outstanding lawyer, and known him for years. His family was there last night. He received this award, and he actually had announced the award, was announced by his family, and then it was presented to Jake Slaughter, who best represented the standards that were set by Wayne McCall when it comes to character. It was a really great night. My congratulations to all the guys who pulled it off. The captain, Mike McGinnis, did a fabulous job. Randy Briggs, shout out to Randy for putting this beautiful award together. It's a gorgeous award, and for making it all happen. To my friends, the rest of my friends there, who I thought were outstanding, and just a special night. I remember one night, one I won't forget, maybe ever. So thank you again. Great job by the Ocala Quarterback Club. All right, so we got the new coordinators. We're learning. I don't recall having to learn so much new information. I don't know. I guess that's how it is. It seems like it's more coaches to be remembered. Guys, can you believe Penn State fired their guy, James Franklin, in October, and they still haven't identified anybody? You talk about dragging their feet. Well, let's see what Ben Troupe says. I know he knows about these two coordinators. Good evening to you, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, buddy. How you doing?
If I can get you up on the screen, I'd be doing better. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm doing good, Ben, and thanks for your information and for letting me know what you know about these guys. Let's take it from the top. Florida hired today their offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner from Georgia Tech. They had already picked Brad White as their guy on the defensive side. Now, it's easy to say how great they are without knowing, but you have a little knowledge, and I want you to drop a little of that knowledge right now on these guys that they hired. You had some interesting things to say about Faulkner, about how he coached up Haynes King. His offense was good. I saw Tech play several times.
Yeah.
They could move the rock.
Well, Faulkner is a guy, well, number one, I always look at certain characteristics when you talk about a guy like Faulkner because he's a Georgia boy and he played quarterback. And when you grow up in the state of Georgia and you play quarterback, you don't want to play out. You don't want to play college outside of Georgia. If you don't go to the University of Georgia, you don't go to Georgia Tech. The next best place if you're a quarterback is Valdosta State, and that's where he went. In the state of Georgia, the best quarterbacking in the state. I didn't say the most popular. That's going to be Georgia. The best quarterbacking in the state happens at Valdosta State. He went there for 3 years. He put up big time numbers, and I think he transferred his last year. But it's something to say, buddy, about playing the quarterback position, understanding what it's like to stand behind the center, what it's like to play in an air raid, what it's like to, and then you talk about the fact that he was on that Georgia staff when they won their national championship, which means he coached Stetson Bennett. So the greatest player in Georgia history, and I'm saying that out loud, greater than Herschel, because he won 2 back to back. He got a chance to see what it was like to take a guy like a Stetson Bennett, who let's be honest, nobody wanted. He had to grow on Georgia. That's not who they wanted because he was a walk-on. And to end up at Georgia Tech and to see what he did to that offense means, he ran the gauntlet. And he was a guy that played the position, came up through the ranks, ended up at a place like, ended up at Georgia. And then you start talking about what he meant went to Georgia Tech. I think their offense was ranked in like the top 25 in all major categories. You're talking about yards per game, rushing, passing, efficiency. And that's what you want. Coach Faulkner was a guy that a lot of people wanted. Make no mistake about it. It was more than a 3-5-2 area code that came through his line, but that shows you how much respect, you got for Coach Sumrall to be able to say, hey, Georgia Tech was trending upward. But I be telling people this. There's something about adding a University of Florida to your resume. You don't think Coach Faulkner saw the years they had Tim Tebow and they had Dan Mullen and guys like that? He wants to be a part of that. So when we got him, I was like, ooh, that's pretty good. Like and buddy, it's not so much you got to get somebody who other people want, but it makes it good. It's not like you getting somebody who nobody wanted. Well, nobody really wanted this guy. No, Coach Faulkner, he's on the fast track to be a head coach. And so you want to pull a guy like that. So, and I'm happy that Coach Sumrall is definitely showing that he's serious about what he's doing. And I am, say what you want to say about a guy like Scott Strickland. Nobody thought he was going back to the G5 after what didn't happen with Billy Napier, but he goes, look, I can't let what didn't happen with one guy keep me from getting the next guy. Because Coach Sumrall, just like Coach Faulkner, he was hardly sought out because for people that didn't know, if he didn't go to Florida, he was going to Auburn. That's where he was probably going to go.
If he was almost done at Auburn, I think they were
so yeah, and Coach Brad White, I didn't know that he played big time for he was a walk-on at Georgia, but then ended up going to Wake Forest and was a really, really good player when he was at Wake Forest. Got a chance to coach like 7 years in the league under Chuck Pagano. So that's NFL experience of understanding. Because when you are an assistant, from what I heard in the NFL, all you doing is taking in knowledge. You seeing why the safeties play this, why the corners playing that, why the linebackers doing. And like I said, when you start talking about where Kentucky defense ranked in the SEC, they weren't bottom feeders. They were really, really solid defense.
And so last 5 years, especially.
Yeah. So the three things that stand out about the coordinator of offensive defense and our head coach, Coach Sumrall, played at Kentucky when I was at Florida. Like we was in the SEC at the same time, and a linebacker like that who wears when he talks about himself saying, "Look, man, I wasn't this big name guy. I scratched and clawed for every inch," and you see where it's got him. I like the fact that Coach Sumrall addressed the fact that he's not hiring his friends. Right, he didn't hire his friends. He's like, I want to get the best guys, and you look at what he was able to do with this 2026 recruiting class, which I will say this too. Billy Napier is no longer in Florida, but what he did is he sold the logo. He sold the school, not himself. And that says a lot because, buddy, when it comes to recruiting, a lot of times you picking that coach first. Then you picking the logo, then you picking the school. But to have the recruiting class that we was able to retain, I mean, you're going to lose a couple of guys, but every recruiting class is going to have them in their cycle. I just like what's going on. I like what Coach Sumrall is saying. I like who he's picking. And what's greater than having a former linebacker as your head coach and a former linebacker as your defensive coordinator to get to coach Miles Graham? I mean, that kind of stuff got to bode well for a guy like that because I said this, the two guys, I know it's three, but the two guys you got to retain is Jaden Ball, Miles Graham, then DJ Lagway. And I mean that respectfully. You got to keep Jaden Ball. You got to keep Miles Graham. And I think DJ Lagway will be back because I think Coach Faulkner can speak to him because we respect coaches because they coaches. But when you've done it, when Coach Faulkner said, no, man, you got to see, he's going back to his old coaching days because he's done it. I mean, playing days. So I like what's going on. I mean, 4-8 is nothing to ride home about. We're not trying to get past what didn't happen, but since we ain't going to a bowl game, all we have is the new head coach, the new offensive defensive coach, because everybody was watching, right? But including us, we were like, who is he gonna get? Yeah. And he got two highly sought after big name guys. Like he got two guys that both respected in their conference. Coach Faulkner respecting the ACC, Coach White respecting in the SEC. Now they're coming over. And like I said, what still resonates is the University of Florida still resonates, not just with coaches and players, but nationally. I know we haven't been what we've been before, but it still resonates. The brand is still the brand. And I think that when you look at what's going on now, you can do no wrong because ain't nobody coach yet. You can do no wrong when the feet ain't hit when the cleats ain't hit the grass. But I just like what's going on. I like the fact that these coordinators were coming in quick. They were coming in quicker than the recruits. Yeah. We already. And I think I think the one thing that changed college football for me, buddy, it wasn't a transfer portal. It wasn't an NIL. It's early signing day. That has shifted.
Well, everything. We are. Ordinarily, back in the day, we'd have been setting this place on fire with these commits. I mean, everything would be, I remember we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We were hitting that fax and putting those commits out there. It hadn't even been we're going to have some more on this later with Loren, but we hadn't even talked about the guys that they've got. And it's because there's so much. There's a transfer portal. There's so many coaches. This is the bloodiest season in the history of college football I can remember with coaches getting fired. You got so many changes at the top. You got so many players moving around. It's damn hard to figure out. Ben, back in the simpler times when there were just X number of teams, I could tell you every team and every batting average in Major League Baseball, every player. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the names of teams probably right now. I mean, and now you got all this. It's crazy. I guess it's good, but I do know that right now there's good energy around the Florida Gator football program.
It is.
That's primarily because of John Sumrall. We haven't had a chance to talk about it at length. I mentioned this a couple of times. I'm sorry if I'm redundant. I've been driving all day for 6 hours, getting back here in Panama City. And to the person who asked me, do I live here? Yes, I live here part of the year now. Part of the time, about 80% of the time I'm in Panama City. For sure. We have a show here, by the way, a Panhandle show. We do every on Friday mornings just for the folks here. Anyway, back to the things. There's just so much going on right now that you got to keep up. But there's nothing been said by anybody yet, and we'll catch up on the recruits. Frankly, I don't know much about them. Do you?
I know. I want to say that there's another Brown coming. I know that Vernell. I don't know if that's Vernell Brown's brother or cousin. I know he's coming. I know that the quarterback that we had, he's still signed. I know that we flipped. Like a safety from LSU to come here. It's hard. You are right, buddy. I know we got like a 6'7", 300-pound tight end out of Georgia. I think you go to Brunswick High School. It is good energy, and you glad it's good energy for the incoming freshmen. You because they have nothing to do with what just transpired in 2025. But it shows that the record is one thing, but what they perceive is everything. When they're watching the games, they're looking at, okay, Were they competitive? How are they playing my position? And, buddy, when Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson, when those true freshmen play, if you're a senior in high school, that gets your attention. Wait. They'll let true freshmen come in and start? Yeah, if you ready. So, yeah, it is a lot going on. I'm not going to say it's not. From the head coach to the position, because there's the thing. The one thing we're not talking about is, well, with a new coaching regime coming in, what happens to the other coaches? They're gone. Who is he going to retain from the previous coaching staff? Does Coach Gonzalez get retained at receiver? Things like that. So it's while there is a lot of buzz going on when the head coach is gone, that means that all the guys he hired, they got to find new jobs as well, unless they didn't get retained. But shout out to Brandon Spikes and the media team, really doing all that stuff he did with when they knew what players was coming in. It seems like he's having a lot of fun right now. I think he's in grad school, if I'm not mistaken, down there in Gainesville. Just every player come in, he do like this little skit the way he's on the phone talking about them. And I think, buddy, I'm gonna keep saying this. The sign of a great school is if you benefit, even if you lose. That's a sign of a great school. And Florida is still going to benefit. We did not have a good season, but you still got the guy you wanted. And we'll see if that pans out. The fact that Penn State still doesn't have a coach is the most baffling thing.
That hit me tonight. It hit me hard. And I knew it. I just had forgotten it. So much going on. And I'm thinking, didn't they fire him in October?
He was the first guy to go. I think the first guy to go was UCLA. Then I think it was because matter of fact, UCLA beat Penn State, and then they lost to Northwestern the next week, and then they fired James Franklin right after the Northwestern. So, buddy, he's been fired. We talking about September. He was fired like first month of the season for them to not. And I saw that James Franklin was kind of trolling Penn State. He gave out crumble cookies, the crumble cookie brand, trying to throw shade at Penn State. But it is a sad. Buddy, we are in a sad, dark place when the Penn State Nittany Lions can't get a head coach for USF or certain schools that are not. Yeah. But hey, I'm just happy at the fact that, buddy, you close. I have to get my news in other ways, how I go about getting, checking sources and different things. But Coach Sumrall, Coach Spurrier and Urban Meyer being there at his introductory press conference, and you had certain players in there. They don't have to do that. See, people out there to be thinking they got to do that. No, they don't. They do not got to say affirming words or encouraging words. They don't. But Coach Spurrier is saying, "Look, man, I know this dude." And Coach, listen, if you've ever met Coach Spurrier, he don't mince words. No, that soundbite he said about Florida State saying, "Well, the only reason why they got their coach is because they can't afford to get rid of him." Because if they could, they would, but they ain't got that. So I'm just happy at the players that showed up. I mean, the things that he was saying, the energy when he said, "I'm not a patient man," and I know the Florida nation ain't patient. You guys, you ain't gonna take long. You gonna feel that impatience quick. Yeah. But for right now, all things seems to be well in Gainesville.
Among things that you hear about is that he, people say, "Well, you can't win right away," and I like the fact that someone said, "Oh, we're going to win right away." Spurrier has been saying that the whole time. You can win right away now with the portal, and the Spurrier won right away without the portal. Let's say good evening to our man, Franz, who's back from the basketball wars up in Durham. What a game, and what two halves that just blew your mind. I'm surprised a lot of people turned the game off at halftime, down by 15, Franz. What a comeback, huh?
Well, what's amazing is that this was as poorly officiated game as you'd ever want to see, and yet Florida still should have won the ball game. Should have, didn't. But, I think, buddy, that this is one of these cases where the bitterness of this loss and the understanding that they should have won the ball game, and the way when you combine that with the way they played in the second half, I think you add those things together and you've got a team that probably turned the corner for the rest of the season. I really and truly believe they turned the corner for the rest of the season with the way they played. I thought
let's hold the analysis. I want to get into it in depth with you. And then while we got Ben, let's jump on this train right now. I'm going to save a whole segment for you to talk about the basketball thing because I know you did. By the way, the book is out. I've got one right here. People came by yesterday and bought a bunch of them. The book is out called The Golden Season. If you want to know more about it, write the Golden Season book at gmail.com and ask, will be other signings? Franz will be doing some. And we had a couple yesterday. So let's do this. Let's talk for a second about the topic du jour, which is the two coordinators. Ben knows a little bit about the two of them. I've also got a hold of my friend Tony Barnhart, who's, of course, in Atlanta, very high on Faulkner. He did an amazing job at tailoring his offense. And I know you liked you like what he did, too, with Haynes King, Ben, you said. So
Haynes King and I mean the Haynes King and Stetson Bennett. I think the thing about Faulkner that when you say can cater to your players, most coordinators will not do that. They will make you fit the system. But like I said, he played quarterback in college, which means it don't take long. Look, it don't take long from a quarterback to see a current quarterback and say, up feet, up mechanics, because a lot of times that's what it is. A lot of times it's not. I mean, if you're trying to play golf and you got a swing coach, they can see what's wrong with your mechanics unless you Charles Barkley. That's different. Unless you him, ain't nothing you can do with that one. But everybody else, it's just so. I think for a guy like DJ Lagway, you want a guy that can break you all the way down to build you all the way back up. Like you got something to work with, obviously, and like I said. You did that. You did it at multiple schools. Stetson Bennett. Ask him about Coach Faulkner. Ask him about when he was there. Oh yeah, man, that dude helped me tremendously. And like I said, when you start talking about what a guy like DJ Lagway needs, and I don't know for certain, he needs to be coached hard. Really, really talented players need to be coached really, really hard. That way and I'm not saying he didn't get coached hard. That's no knock against Coach Callaway and those guys that was there. But what I'm saying, when you start talking about Coach Faulkner, what he can bring to the table is I've done it at two schools. I've seen a team go back-to-back national championships. I've done it. I've hit the epitome. But I want to do it here. Like I've seen what it's like to get Georgia Tech back to national relevancy. Now they didn't go to the ACC championship game. That's a total different conversation for another day. That's a wreck. But I just think that for a guy like DJ Lagway, he was looking to see who he's going to get. And as soon as used to be, you get a coordinator and you knew nothing about him. You had to wait. Now, man, you could Google these jokers and look like, oh, shit, he been here. Stuff like that. And like I said, Coach White, I mean, what he brings to the table is a plethora of knowledge because he's done it on the pro level, and now he's back in college. And if you don't think Miles Graham, when that number came through, oh, should I get to coach Miles Graham? Yes, sign me up for that. Yeah, I want to come down there to Florida. So the logo has proven to be have a staying power because these coaches that come in and like I said, I mean, I can't remember who told me this, but it was like, Ben, if a 352 area code pop up on your phone, you got to pick it up. You ain't sending it to voicemail. Hello, you at least got to take the call. So I'm happy with who we got, man. I think that's good guys.
I didn't know this, Franz. Chris Winkie coaches with Faulkner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
Here's the thing also to know is they are a rush-heavy offense, so it seems. But
he throws it around a little bit.
Let me give you some numbers that you'll appreciate about Mr. Faulkner. Georgia Tech last 3 seasons. 2023, 424.6 yards, 424.5 in 2024, 466.3 last year. Florida never averaged 400 yards during the entire Billy Napier era. 203.7 yards rushing, 222.8 in 2023. 187 rushing, 237.5 passing, 2024. 2003 rushing, 203 rushing, 263.3 passing this past year. That's bad. And you look at the number of plays they ran, both rushing and passing. And see, that's where you get the real balance. You're going to get more yards throwing the ball, obviously. But you look at the number of play calls, and the number of play calls are how you really figure out if there's balance in that offense. But the running totals are good. He's not afraid to run with his quarterback. He's not afraid to play to his quarterback's strengths. And that's the thing I think that should excite DJ Lagway. I know it certainly excites, in the recruiting class this year. You look at they got Will Griffin out of Tampa, and this is a big time prospect. He's already 6'3", 225, has a big time arm, 4-star by everybody, but based on the fact that he played in that very, very difficult Tampa prep arena, he should have been a 5-star guy, should be, and wasn't. So I got to tell you, that kid's excited enough to stick with this. But you look at the entire recruiting class, and obviously these guys, you look at the number of offensive players, all these offensive linemen stuck it out. The wide receivers, they picked up the kid Davian Gross from Frisco, Texas, he's another one, should be a 5-star guy. They kept the CJ Bronow, who is the fastest guy in the country, out of Windermere. They got Justin Williams, who is a 5-star per ESPN, and he's a local kid, a wide receiver from Buchholz. He's another one that goes their way. The 6'6", 320-pound tight end out of Brunswick, Georgia, remained a Gator. Caden Hall, the big safety out of Milton, Florida, that everybody thought was flipping to LSU, he stuck with the Gators. CJ Hester, cornerback who could also play wide receiver out of Cocoa, stuck with the Gators. This was an absolute terrific recruiting class based on the fact that they had such a short time
and no head coach
put it together.
Yeah.
And these guys all went on a wing and a prayer and a Zoom call, and that's what they did. And the other thing that I'm sure makes everybody happy is he flipped a guy that had been committed to LSU forever. He flipped a guy who's a corner from LSU to Florida. I thought that was Dylan Purter is his name, and he's an Alabama kid. But I thought that was absolutely hysterical that they did that. Let
me stop you guys a second and make sure I pay a bill and tell you about our good friends at Meldon Law. They do it right. They'll take care of your needs, whatever that may be. If they don't have an attorney they think is suited for your case, they'll find you one. They're now 5 locations to serve you. One of them now in South Florida, in addition to ones in North Central Florida, primarily being Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City, Wilson. And of course, we know all about Jeffrey and his love for the Gators and all the things he's done there. Traveled with the basketball team last year, and he's a real Gator through and through. One of the best people I know, and a guy that just really does bleed more than orange and blue. He breathes a little blood with that too, red, but it's not Georgia red. But anyway, so they're the only official law firm, the one that the University of Florida has is Meldon Law. They take injury cases, and so check them out if you need any legal help or you want to go by and see. Just go by and see Jeffrey. I went by his Ocala store yesterday and thought I should stop in here, say hello. I didn't have time, but anyway, Meldon Law, they won't back down. All right, guys, we're coming up here in just a minute. We're going to have Loren. He was with me last night up in Ocala. We had a terrific award given out to Jake Slaughter last night. Jake's girlfriend was there. And it's quite an emotional night. Wayne McCall, the former linebacker, number 38. There was a beautiful award put together by Randy Briggs. Outstanding job. And we had our Scott Brantley finalists last night. I didn't realize till last night that Jake was also a Scott Brantley Award winner, trophy winner. So he's a double. He's got the very first Wayne McCall Character Award, and he's got now, which will be in perpetuity, by the way, and that will not be given every year, only to Marion County athletes who exhibit the kind of principle and that Wayne McCall had, and they'll honor him in every way. And so good to see Jake last night. He said he's getting ready to take off his weekend. That'll be it for him. He'll be going trying to get a job in the NFL. Let's hope he does well. So it was a terrific day last night. All right, we didn't have a chance yet to get into the X's and O's and the teeth of John Sumrall, and we can't totally analyze it tonight. But I want to say that I had a nice conversation with Steve Russell and Allie P. Wilbur last night, and there's some little signs of things that I really like, and we like people who want to be Gators. There's some video that was released, and the video showed the whole family walking through Ben Hill Griffin on Forest Steve Spurgeon Field, and playing. Nobody in the stands, and they're playing "Don't Back Down." And and they're holding hands, walking through there, happy. There's really good stuff out of these people, and among the things I liked about him is that he took his time in making sure you knew who his 4 children were. Told you something about each one. He expressed to everybody, "I want to coach here forever." He says he wants to win now. He doesn't want to wait. He's got a long term, but he has a short. He said, Florida wins championships. He said, "I'm a winner. I'm going to win here." I like that. I thought so. So many things. I was a lot more impressed, Franz, than I wanted to be.
Weren't we all? And we learned more about his family in one day than we found out about Billy Napier's
1 hour.
in
1
4
hour.
years.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I think people don't realize. I had somebody texted me and said, they only averaged 28 points a game at Tulane this year. And I said, yeah, they didn't get their quarterback until 2 weeks before the season began. And Jake Retzlaff transferred in from BYU and takes them to a 10-2 record. And what does he do this year? He throws for 2,717 yards and 14 touchdowns, runs for 561 and 14, which isn't bad when you consider he took over the team 2 weeks before the season began. That told me something right there, that they adapted on the fly to the quarterback's talents and got better as they went along. Because here's the thing, you look at what Tulane did this year in their last 4 games, 38, 35, 37 points. And then they beat Charlotte 27-0 in their last game. And that was just a game that they basically were just going through the motions for, because they knew they racked up a big score early. But they scored points on a consistent basis. They used a lot of time off the clock in doing so. They played defense, in other words, with their offense. I'm impressed with what he's done there at Tulane. Then I went back and looked at what he did at Troy. And guys, I got to tell you what he did at Troy was very, very impressive. Their offense got better. 2023, their second year there, 419 yards. They've always averaged 400 yards a game. They've always run the football very, very well, and they've thrown the ball efficiently. I think if he comes to Florida and does that, everybody's going to be very, very happy.
Yeah, so let's say hello to Loren Meadows. I saw him last night at the quarterback club. What a night,
gentlemen!
What a night last night. It's really amazing.
Yeah, great night, buddy. Kudos to you again. Obviously, we all know how we feel about Scott Brantley and the Brantley Trophy, and awarded to. I guess we had some finalists, hadn't been announced yet, but some really good finalists. Young man from Chiefland, Ocala, Justin Williams, who is signed with the Gators, and then I think another young man from offensive lineman, defensive lineman from the Villages, good-looking kid who's getting recruited by some of the academies, things like that. But obviously, the I guess the coup de grace, the cherry on top was giving away the is it Wayne McCall?
So Wayne McCall Character
Sportsmanship.
Award.
Yeah, character award.
Brand new award.
Given to Jake Slaughter, Marion County resident, somebody who's carried himself extremely well. And it was cool to see. I didn't put the two and two together. That's Matt McCall's father.
Right.
He was coach at UMass, obviously coached at Florida, coached at UMass, different places like that. But and I actually sat with a member of his family at the game on Saturday. Surprisingly, her daughter goes to Ole Miss, but I said they were sitting behind Marcia and I at the game this past Saturday. But just a really good night, really cool. I mean, that's what's nice about the Ocala Quarterback Club. It's a little bit more close-knit group. You get to know everybody. You get to know a little bit about the families. But, yeah, obviously good to see you, buddy, but definitely a good night. And I think we sold some books last night, too. So
Franz got some more.
That's awesome.
His bestseller's on his way. Let's stop for a second here and pause and go back. I'm going to go back to Ben and go through all three of you guys on our points about why we like and what we saw or what we didn't like about the new coach. Let's see if anybody's got anything negative to say about him. But so far, none. But I told you two or three things that I liked, and Franz repeated the fact that we learned more in an hour about his team and him than we learned in 4 years with Billy. But the little things I liked, there were so many little things I liked about him. Let's take him with Ben. Ben, is this a guy you can play for? Sumrall?
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that he was engaging. I mean, he already knows. Look, I mean, even if I'm not timid, I mean, even if he has a timid personality, he didn't show it. I mean, because he knows I can't hide now. I mean, whatever I did at Tulane is great, but I'm trying to make sure you guys understand that I know what Florida is. He know what Florida was because he played at Kentucky, so I know what I knew what it was as a player back in the day. I didn't even know Coach Sumrall was at Kentucky when I was at Florida, So to be able to see it from that standpoint and then to be able to come back like this, Coach Sumrall, as far as like him saying he want to coach it forever, he sounds like Ron Zook. That's what Ron Zook used to say when he got. He used to tell, man, this is my dream job. Now it didn't work out that way, obviously, but nobody that watched Coach Sumrall came in. We all kind of came in like, okay, because we know the first thing you got to do is win the introductory press conference. Oh, he won it. Mm-hmm. Oh, he won that because I think he understands too. Look, I get it. Florida is the brand in the state of Florida. It is the biggest brand in the state. We understand. And when he said what sold me was when he says, one, I don't have an 8-year plan. I have a right now plan. I don't have that. And he said the University of Florida fan base is. He said I'm not very patient. I'm not a patient guy, and I know Gator fans aren't patient. I said, yeah, well, I will put hours up against yours any day, but I can appreciate him saying, I know you got to win now. I know. So I was just impressed with his energy. I was impressed with the fact that he was, buddy, and not saying, I don't know if y'all set it up yet. I don't think you're going to have to worry about the one-on-one with Coach Sumrall like you did with Coach, because I think those type of, to me, I think the first thing you do if you're a head coach at Florida, new head coach, is, all right, man, who are the people I'm supposed to talk to that I don't know yet? Yeah. You go to the SID and go, who am I supposed to get to know? Yeah. His name, there go Franz over there, there go Loren over there. You see Buddy right there. You're supposed to do that. Because when it gets ugly, or if it gets ugly, who else gonna be able to speak on your behalf but us? Ain't nobody else do it. So, but I was very listen. My timeline was looking like Florida made it to a bowl game. I'm looking around there. Look at Gator fans trying to be nice. We know who we really are. We know that don't last. But for one day, a couple of days, I can take the positivity coming through the timeline.
Yeah, I will say that. And I'm not going to make a big thing out of this because it's not about this and me, whatever. But I felt it was so refreshing to ask a question, having a response. And he said, great question. Not that means it's a great question, but, and then understanding what I was asking and being willing to spend time on addressing the question. In 4 years, I never had that with Billy Napier, not one time. And the first time I talked to this guy, is boom, I asked him at the end about the day he knew he'd lost football. He was wonderful. I thought, this is my kind of guy, Loren. I mean, it's this kind of guy you like to have asking questions. Someone's actually going to address it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't dance around it. He was up front. He was sincere. He did all the things that you would want from somebody, your head coach. But what I like most about it, I like the fact that he truly, and he put it on, right away. We're going to be a part of the Florida community. We're going to be outside. You're going to see us at different sporting events. You're going to see us out in the community. And he addressed it. Wasn't like, yeah, of course I'm going to be out. Somebody had to ask him about it. He was forthcoming with, we're going to, engage and be involved and be committed and help all the sports in any way we can, and definitely be there to support. And, I think that, when you look at a guy like that, I think, yes, he won the press conference, but he also understands, and we've said it a million times, the fluff won't matter if you don't win. And so he's going to put together the best staff he can, work extremely hard. And like he said, I'm a winner. I win. I'm built for this. So you can appreciate that.
Long
way to go.
Yeah.
But you got that's what I liked initially. Go ahead, buddy.
I also love the fact he talked about his experience coming to the Swamp. And in 2004, what it was like having the student sections behind him and shouting Gator bait.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very intimidating. I'm thinking, why did we just take that away? Why don't we go back there? This made me think about it being racial. It was ridiculous. And it was a weapon. It was one more little edge. Anyway, so he wants to bring gag bait. I said, yeah, bring it back, Coach. But no, there were a lot of things there that we like. And Franz, I know you did too.
I thought he didn't duck or dodge any. He didn't even give the appearance of ducking or dodging questions. I thought that was quite refreshing. I think back to the days of when Jim McElwain, you could ask him a question about why aren't you wearing socks today, and he'd start telling you about how they darn socks from bamboo in India.
Yeah,
India, but he never answer your question about why he didn't wear the socks. Billy, Mullen was a very forthcoming guy. I liked the way Mullen answered questions, everything. Billy Napier kind of gave you answers, but kind of didn't. If it was an answer he wanted to give you, he'd give it to you. This guy gives you the impression that he's going to answer the question whether he likes it or not.
And he looks like he's a Gator, already.
Yeah, but Franz, he said the one thing that they all had to say that we got to hold him to it. He said, "Former Gators are welcome here." Now he said that. Now he said it, and nobody make him say it. And the reason why I say that those are the type of things that's gonna get tested, because it's like, being a former Florida Gator, being a former Gator, you understand that when you finally, it's not you. You're gonna have your kids with you, and the last thing you want to do, they look at their list and go, don't got you on the list. So
from what I understand, Ben, at Troy and at Tulane, if you are a former player, they had loads of them on the sidelines every single ball game. And that's something that I think has really been missing in Florida. They showed the Texas A&M game, all the ex-Texas players on the sideline there. They go show the Georgia game, or any Georgia game. Always they're showing former players on the sideline, etc. That's something that I think has been missing here. Nobody has really embraced the former players. I mean, goodness, wouldn't that be, if I'm a recruit and I'm thinking about Florida wants me, they got me sitting in that end zone with everybody. If I see Percy Harvin standing there on that sideline, if I see somebody like that, like Kyle Trask on that sideline, or Rex Grossman or somebody like that, I'm gonna think, oh, wait a second here. If I'm a wide receiver and I'm seeing Percy Harvin or Jabbar Gaffney on there, I'm thinking, wait a second. If I'm a tight end and I see Well, dadgum, that's Ben Troupe.
Where's Ben Troupe? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
we don't see that, and
no, you're right.
this is a buddy. I think this is a step forward. Now, saying it and doing it are two different things, as Ben just said. But if he follows through on that, it's a very good thing for the Florida Gators.
All right, guys. In the last 12 minutes, we have not addressed two things. Franz did a little bit on the recruits. The classes that was signed by all estimations looks like a pretty good one for not having a coach. I know that Franz did talk about some of them. And here we are now down to the playoffs. And we got 12 teams vying, and Vanderbilt might make it or might not. This is the time we waited for all these years. Here it is, and we hadn't even brought it up. So, Loren, let's bring it up.
The recruiting?
Both recruiting and or
the playoff. Well, I mean, the playoff. Yeah, I mean, I think that you look at the recruits today, the ability to hold a class together, have a top 15 class. You got guys like Davion Gross, who's 20.52 in the 200 out of Frisco, Texas. CJ Bronaugh, who's kind of along the lines of a Cormani McClain, similar size. Justin Williams is, going to be playing for Buchholz tomorrow in the state semifinals. Is pretty much a Swiss Army knife, very reminiscent of Percy Harvin. They use him a lot of different ways there at Buchholz. A guy that really stands out to me, a couple, is KJ Ford out of the what has become the evil empire that is Duncanville, Texas. They just lean on you. They got about 50 Division I guys. And then the combination of Dylan Purder and Marquez Daniel at corner and receiver out of Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee. I mean, just some really good guys to build some building blocks. You can also throw Kendall Gervil in there, 6'4" and a half, 315 pounds. I mean, these are guys that are built and ready to go. Another guy, interesting, I don't know if you know this guy, but they got a guy, he's Kent out of Brunswick, 6'6", 300 pounds.
Yeah, I heard a lot. Well, I mean, obviously I don't live. I heard a lot about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when they started making tight ends like that. I don't think it's going to be a trend anytime soon. Right. But I can guarantee his favorite tight end all time is Darnell Washington for Pittsburgh. That's who he's looking at. But a guy that's Brunswick is like, Brunswick, because of the part of Georgia that they in, for him to stick, for players to stick with Florida means that Billy Napier sold Florida. He didn't sell himself. A lot of coaches sell themselves, and I get it. I'm not saying, but Billy Napier said, "Look, man, pick Florida, man." And I'm telling you, to have this type of class in the midst of two things, going 4-8 and no coach, that says a lot. Because as much as we put so much on the product on the field, wins and losses, these players be like, yeah, but we see it a little different. Why? Well, because I mean, you don't think that kind of stuff that went on with DJ Lagway and freaking Chipotle before the season matters? You don't think that seeing like I said, Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown III, I got true freshmen start? Wait a minute, you just got here and you get so certain things that happened last year really helped, but to keep the class together, in the words of a great man known as Franz Beard, he says football is dummy-proof, idiot-proof. When you kick the ball off, it doesn't matter, but you got to make it to the games. And like I said, they kept it together. And if you are Coach Sumrall, I don't know when him and Brandon Spikes had time to do what was. Brandon Spikes is the hardest working man at Florida with all that stuff. Every recruit, he on the phone, talk. Brandon Spikes having a ball down there at Gville, but I think they did a really, really good job. Because Coach Sumrall, he did the introductory press conference to talk to the current players, and he got straight on the phone. Hey man, this Coach Sumrall, you still because even though he didn't recruit a lot of these players, he knew of a lot of them. He knew of a lot of these players. These coaches know about most of them, and we got another player from Lakeland. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
we got another player from Lakeland. And
a sleeper, a name to look out for, Jeraylin McCoy. Out of the home of Elvis Presley, Tupelo, Mississippi. And I'll give you one guess what school he picked Florida over.
Ole Miss. By damn.
6'6", 245 pounds. 6'6". So a 6'6", 245-pound freshman is what as a junior, Franz?
They got him listed at 265 now.
Wow. So there you go already. So
walking in. As long as he don't got it. When I first got to Florida, the first person I seen not named a freshman on the field was Thaddeus Buller, aka Titus O'Neil, and he'd already had on his wrestling uniform because he just had on some tights all oiled up. And I'm thinking to myself, we looked at each other like, I mean, are we gonna look like we gonna get to look like that? Like, I don't know if you're gonna look like that, but we gonna try to, Rob Glass tried to get us right. Because I was like, where's he ain't got nothing but some boxer briefs and some cleats. And ain't nobody said a word all day. So,
that's my
now,
sleeper.
Let me tell you
that's
something
my
real
sleeper
quick,
in that
Ben.
class.
I'm going to throw one at you real quick, Ben. You know who Rob Glass's two roommates were in college? Bill Self, who's now the basketball coach at Kansas, and the guy, last name Brooks, who's a pretty good country music singer.
I'm just saying. Rob Glass,
Garth Brooks and
Franz,
Bill
Loren,
Self.
and Buddy. Check this out. I guarantee you. You ask any current Florida Gator, future Florida Gator that played with Rob Glass, I've never seen him sweat before. As hot as it was, he got a long sleeve shirt on. Rob Glass was the devil, and I love him to death because he didn't sweat. He did like think about that. Like, and he said, hey, yeah, man, he said, he said the only Heisman's I've ever, had the privilege of working with was, Danny Warfel and his bum name, Barry Sanders. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. So I know a little. So, that's my days of Florida. When you talk about my biggest regret as a Florida Gator ever is leaving when I was getting ready for the draft. When I went off to New Orleans, I should have stayed with Rob Glass right there in game. I regret that to this day because I don't know what it does to him to help me get to where I got physically. And then when it's time when the money's on the line, I go up there. I go to Kenner, Louisiana, just the outskirt of New Orleans. When I could have sat right there with Rob Glass, but he forgave me for it. Though,
it brings up as your point. Who's going to be Florida's strength and conditioning coach? That's another question.
That's going to be the big. That is going to be
piece,
the next big hire.
Yeah. All right, we got enough. Go ahead, Franz.
I would say, all things considered, this has been a very good week for the Florida Gators.
I'd say so. Yes, I agree. With that.
I would say that maybe we didn't get the big name hire, but sometimes your big name doesn't exactly turn out to be the right hire.
Exactly.
And we may have backed into the right hire.
Yeah. I got about 2 to 3 minutes here. I want each person to take 20, 30 seconds. Give me a team that you think could get hot. Don't give me Georgia. Don't give me the obvious teams. Don't give me Ohio State. In the playoffs, give me a team you think could get hot and do some damage in the playoffs. Who wants to go first? 20 seconds each.
Ole Miss.
You picking Ole Miss, huh? Well, that would be something, huh? A lot of head coach. That'd be a good story. All right. Ben?
A sleeper team. They might not get in, but if they get in, because I think if Duke does do the unthinkable and beat Virginia and they get no team in, North Texas, if they get in, and here's the thing, watch out for their QB, buddy. They got a QB that can throw that thing. If they get in, they got nothing to lose. They North Texas. But if they get in,
a good coach. That guy's a good coach too.
They do.
Yeah. All right. Who else has got one? I'm gonna throw a name out there just for the heck of it. Texas. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just gonna throw them out.
Take it in. I'll go with that, buddy.
Better? Yeah.
I'll throw a team out there that could really get hot and turn this thing all upside down, and that is Texas A&M. They played their worst game of the year and they lost to Texas. I don't know if they'll play 2 bad games, particularly when they've got 2 weeks to get ready for the ball game that they're going to play in the playoffs. And I think I said before the season started, I think you guys can remember, I said the Aggies would be the toughest team the Gators played all year. And I still think that. And if they've got 2 weeks to get themselves healthy and prepared, they could be the hot team
Yeah,
that beats everybody.
All right, here's the
Neo,
real test right now.
Neo 76, Indiana going down Saturday night.
Well, that's what. Here's what I was just going to say. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you picked Indiana to be playing for a championship, please.
Yo, you talking about the football?
Yeah, football. Yeah,
Oh, stop it.
yeah. But hey,
I mean, they were the second best. I thought they'd be in the Big Ten championship game. I thought they were the second best team in the
it's a
Big
basketball school for crying out
Ten.
loud.
Well, but this year,
Bobby Knight.
So are the Gators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's not a slight. I'll take Florida being a basketball school. Oh, and once again, to all my critics out there, just when they said that last year, when they said Florida has the best men athletic program in the country because they were talking about football and basketball combined, people like, you losing your mind. And like, where are y'all basketball championships at? Oh, we got to win in basketball? Yes.
Yeah.
Georgia, Dominique Wilkins. Please be quiet.
Hey, Franz, give me 60 seconds on the Gators. Now got the loss out of the way, proved some things. Now they prepared to make a stretch run in basketball after the tough loss to Duke.
I thought they should have won the Duke game, just as I thought they should have won the TCU game. But I think the second half against Providence and the second half against Duke, I think they're ready to put an entire game together. This is a team that, trust me, when March gets here, nobody wants to play the Gators. They're going to be really good. They're close. They're very, very close. And what I think we saw, what convinces me is watching them play defense in the second half against Duke. If they had played that well defensively in the first half, they'd have won the ball game by 20 points.
Well, here's the key to it. I got to go, but here's the key to it. If they get an official who knows how to call goaltending, they got a chance. Oh my God!
I don't never talk about refs cheating, but that was crazy.
Brutal.
Before we go, I had
got 20 seconds. Go.
I had lunch with Phil Ford Tuesday, and the last thing he said to me is, just remember this, at Cameron, the last 5 minutes of the game, it's Florida's 5 against their 8.
There's no doubt about it. That's how it is. All right, guys, great job tonight. I love you. Thank you. Ben, thank you. Thank you, Loren. Thank you, Franz. Talk to you soon. Have a good weekend, all right? All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up now and tell you about our friends at Titan MRI Imaging. They are one of our fine sponsors. They have 3 locations to serve you, 2 in Gainesville, Park Avenue location now, and also in Valdosta to serve the area up there. Titan MRI Imaging offers MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds. They're doing really high-tech stuff now. Terrific job there. I'm hearing great things about them. They have a great scheduling situation where if you're working today and you can't get there at night, or vice versa, you're working the night, you can't get there today, whatever the case may be. If you want to come at night, they'll make a special effort to get you in. The easy scheduling options. They have, I love this, they have the larger MRI machines for patient comfort. I don't like getting in those tubes. A little tiny little tube. When I get in there and I got a nice little room and can breathe, it's a whole lot different to me. So no yards, no hospitals. Check them out. Easy scheduling options. Come Ocala soon. We'll be there in serve Marion County, the surrounding area. Titan MRI. It's your choice. Check them out. All right. So thanks to Franz and thanks to Loren and thanks to Ben. That was a good night. It's been a good week. And Florida's got a coordinator of offensive and defense. Let's go. Let's go. Let's show to go. I used to have a guy, friend of mine, that worked for Justin Boots. And he played golf tournament in boots. And he would say this all the time, let's go, let's show, let's rodeo. And let's just say he might have been imbibing a little bit at the time too. Anyway, all right, folks, have a good night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We're back again on Monday. Have a great weekend and talk to you then.